Have you ever been to a concert and afterwards experienced ringing of the ears and sometimes a permanent loss of hearing? Does your grandma or grandpa have a really hard time hearing you, requiring everyone to quiet down just so they can focus their energy on you? If you have, you may have experienced loss of hearing due to hair cell damage. There's many reasons why hearing loss can occur. First reason may be a blockage of sound from reaching the receptors called conductive hearing loss. Second reason is the damage to the hair cells. And a third reason may be damage to the auditory nerve or the brain. Presbycusis technically means old hearing. As you age, loss of hearing can occur. This is technically known as presbycusis. About 30 to 35% of adults between the ages of 65 and 75 years old have a hearing loss. It is estimated that between 40 and 50% of people 75 and older have a hearing loss problem. Males are typically more prevalent for presbycusis. Why? Apparently caused by factors in addition to aging, since people in pre-industrial cultures who have not been exposed to the noises that accompany industrialization or to drugs that could damage the ear often do not experience large decreases in high-frequency hearing in old age. Men may have also been involved in hunting or wartime, which may be why a wearing of the inner hair cells occur. I thought this picture was pretty funny. I'm not deaf. Are you sure? What? Who may have presbycusis? With presbycusis, sounds often seem less clear and lower in volume. This contributes to difficulty hearing and understanding speech. Individuals with presbycusis may experience several of the following. The speech of others seems mumbled or slurred. High-pitched sounds such as s and th are difficult to hear and tell apart. Conversations are difficult to understand, especially when there is a background noise. A man's voice is easier to hear than the higher pitches of a woman's voice. Certain sounds seem annoying or overly loud. Tinnitus, a ringing, roaring, or hissing sound in one or both ears, may also occur. Here is a great picture of the inner ear. Sensorineural hearing loss is caused by disorders of the inner ear or auditory nerve. Presbycusis is usually a sensorineural hearing disorder. It is most commonly caused by gradual changes in the inner ear. The cumulative effects of repeated exposure to daily traffic sounds or construction work, noisy offices, equipment that produce noise, and loud music can cause a sensorineural hearing loss. Sensorineural hearing loss is most often due to a loss of hair cells, the sensory receptors in the inner ear. This can occur as a result of hereditary factors as well as aging, various health conditions, and side effects of some medicines, aspirin and certain antibiotics. Presbycusis may be caused by changes in the blood supply to the ear because of heart disease, high blood pressure, vascular conditions caused by diabetes or other circulatory problems. The loss may be mild, moderate, or severe. Sometimes presbycusis is a conductive hearing disorder, meaning the loss of sound sensitivity is caused by abnormalities of the outer ear and or middle ear. Such abnormalities may include reduced function of the tympanic membrane, which is the eardrum, or reduced function of the three tiny bones in the middle ear that carry sound waves from the tympanic membrane to the inner ear. How does hearing work? The outer ear collects sound waves and works like a funnel to send them through a narrow tube, which is the ear canal, that leads inside the ear. At the end of the ear canal is the eardrum, the tympanic membrane. The tympanic membrane is a thin membrane that vibrates when sound waves strike it. It divides the area called the outer ear from the middle ear. It is attached to a set of three tiny bones in the middle ear. These bones are called the hammer, malleus, anvil, which is incus, and the stirrup, stapes. The bones pass the vibrations of sound waves to a small organ in the hearing part of the inner ear called the cochlea, which is a coiled structure like a snail shell. The inner ear is filled with a thin fluid that transmits pressure changes throughout the cochlea. Inside the cochlea are tiny hair cells that pick up sound vibrations from the fluid and cause nerve impulses in the auditory nerve. The auditory nerve carries the message to the brain, where it is interpreted as sound. There's a different kind of hearing loss condition, which is known as the noise-induced hearing loss. Loud noises cause degeneration of the hair cells. This occurs for people who work in noisy environments, and it damages the organ of Corti, which is seen in many cases. I thought this picture was pretty funny, and it depicted a picture of what I'm talking about. We are hair cells, and you have approximately 40,000 of us in your inner ear. Loud noises sometimes give us a hard time. Too much noise can kill us, which means hearing loss for you. And on the side you see two different pictures, which shows the top one, inner ear, that the inner hair cells are healthy. The bottom picture shows that all the hair cells are gone. For example, examination of the cochlea of a man who worked in a steel mill indicated that his organ of Corti had collapsed and no receptor cells remained. To get a visual of what I was talking about before, this is a picture of the organ of Corti, and as you see, the downer it gets in the bottom right corner, it's completely collapsed. And all the rest of the pictures, you can kind of see that it's gradually collapsing in on itself. Because of the danger to hair cells posed by workplace noise, the United States Occupational Safety and Health Agency, OSHA, has mandated that workers not be exposed to sound levels greater than 85 decibels for an 8-hour work shift. I found this picture and I thought it was really great visual. It shows a hair bundle before the noise and the hair bundle after the noise, which is completely separated and shattered. There's a lot of different leisure noises that you don't usually think would harm your hearing, but they do. These leisure noises include recreational gun use, riding motorcycles, playing musical instruments, working with power tools, listening to loud music, going to concerts, and firecrackers. This is a picture showing where the sound comes from and where it goes, which is over to the auditory nerve in the cochlea. You can see that it harms the cochlea and the auditory nerve. MP3 players can reach levels of 100 decibels or higher, which is way beyond the recommended maximum of 85 decibels. The amount of hearing loss depends on the level of sound intensity and the duration of exposure. Given the high levels of sound that occur in these activities, both temporary and permanent hearing losses are associated with these leisure activities. Here is a picture of a noise thermometer, and as you can see at 30 decibels, it's just a faint sound, which is that of a whisper. At 85, OSHA regulations, hearing damage occurs in 8 hours at 85 decibels. At 88, hearing damage is only in 4 hours. So when you're mowing the lawn or sitting in traffic. At 91 decibels, hearing damage occurs in 2 hours. So when you're blow drying your hair for longer than 2 hours, maybe hearing loss will occur. A garbage disposal also, just that sound, is at 91 decibels. At 94 decibels, hearing damage is in 1 hour of the electric drill. At 97 decibels, hearing damage is in 30 minutes. So if you're riding a motorcycle for longer than 30 minutes without proper ear protection, you might be at risk. At 100 decibels, hearing damage occurs in 15 minutes. So if you're listening to MP3 players or riding a snowmobile. At 115 decibels, hearing damage is in 30 seconds. A leaf blower, a stadium football game. At 120 decibels, less than 8 seconds is all you have. So a rock concert, an ambulance siren. At 125 decibels, that's when you reach the pain threshold, such as a fire alarm or a firecracker. At 140 decibels, immediate danger to hearing. So a jet engine at takeoff or a gunshot. So what is 85 decibels anyway? 85 decibels is the sound of a busy street corner. Next time you are standing at a busy city street corner, listen to the sound. That is about 85 decibels. 91 decibels is the sound level of a gas lawnmower. A bandsaw is about 98 decibels when measured at the eardrum. One suggestion for minimizing the potential for hearing damage is to follow this simple rule proposed by James Batty Jr. If you can't hear someone talking to you at arm's length, turn down the music. Or, if you can't bring yourself to turn down the volume, another thing that would help is to take a 5-minute break from listening at least once an hour. Most of the information provided is directly quoted from pages 278 and 279 of Chapter 11's Sound, the Auditory System, and Pitch Perception, from the book Sensation and Perception by E. Bruce Goldstein. This concludes my presentation. I hope much of the information provided was extremely helpful. Thank you for listening.